Ok, muchas gracias. Espero que le estén pasando muy bien. I hope everyone's having a great time. And yeah, we're going to have a conversation. So get your questions ready. We're going to open up for everyone a bit sooner than we would. Thank you so much, Owen, Dana, for being here. It's a true honor.
Yeah.
And let's get right into it. So yeah, I just want to start by saying, was there a specific job or project that gave you the confidence and the tools in becoming a leader and a showrunner?
Yeah. I will always say that the position that made me most prepared to be a showrunner is being a revisionist. I don't know if you feel the same or have the same journey, but at least my experience of being a revisionist on Gravity Falls meant that everything from the pipeline ended up in my hands. I ended up conforming boards, doing drawovers, cleaning stuff up, basically doing a lot of the extra work that just needed to get done really fast so that we could meet deadlines. And a lot of those similar kind of responsibilities ended up translating to showrunning. So I will always tell people, if you want to know kind of what it's like to be a showrunner, be a revisionist.
I would have gone with my storyboard/writing job, which was on regular show. I was a board artist and a writer, which sort of opened me up to a lot of different positions in a way. So on regular show, they never really gave you like, here's the designs, here's this thing. So you basically had to make up everything, which gave you a sense of like, hey, these are the kinds of designs that work in the show. These are the kinds of jokes that work in this show. This is the kind of writing that works in this show. And then if you didn't finish it, you could hand it to the revisionist. It was great.
Actually, sorry, can I ask?
Yeah.
So that's a storyboard-driven show.
Yes.
Yes, and you were doing some of the designs as well.
Yes.
What was how many weeks did you have for that?
We had 5 weeks.
For all of that?
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
a lot.
So
I mean,
for those of you who don't know, there's 2 different ways you can do an animated show. There's board-driven or script-driven. Script-driven is they give you a script, and it's got all the dialogue, it's got all the actions, all that sort of stuff, and they go, please draw this, and then you do. But there's also board-driven, where they give you like an outline that sort of just says, here's kind of what happens, here's roughly the actions that happen, here's kind of what the characters are thinking, and then your job is to draw all of it and also write all of the dialogue and write basically all of it after that. So on a board-driven show, it felt very like, it feels very like creator-y, especially on regular show. JJ gave us a lot of leeway, which you probably shouldn't have sometimes, but it was great.
But it's cool. You get a lot more. You get more kind of creative ownership that way.
Yeah,
that's nice.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And so let's talk about what showrunner does. And also, is there anything that you think or you believe, is there a myth about showrunning that you would like to debunk?
That you're the one that's absolutely in charge at any given moment?
That you're absolutely in charge, that we make a lot of money.
Yeah, we make a lot of money. No.
What are some others? There's so many. That we design and write everything, even though we have a crew of like 50 plus people at any given time.
The idea that the showrunner has done everything, the showrunner like approves everything.
Yeah.
But like, mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like in the end, like you're one person among a team of like, 30 to 50 people, and I view it as sort of like bowling with like those gutter things on the side, where it's sort of like you throw the bowling ball down the lane, and all you're trying to do is just sort of like, it's going, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. The ball's going to keep going, and you're just sort of going like, and just kind of hope it gets in there. And that's kind of what showrunning is.
Yeah, I think, well, there's like, because there are pipelines where a showrunner, trying to like find the perfect distance with the microphone, yeah. There are pipelines where a showrunner, for example, if they take off for a week or two for vacation, that's a fun idea.
Yeah.
That everything will bottleneck if they don't have, if they're not the ones like making final decisions on everything, attending design meetings, all this stuff. But it kind of differs from show to show and how controlling a showrunner can be.
Yeah.
And when I say controlling, sometimes that's negative, sometimes it's not. It's all really show specific.
Especially because so many shows have such a specific voice, and the showrunner is that voice in some cases, that if they're not there to give their approval on every little thing, it can get kind of messy.
Yeah.
But that also depends on like who they hired to mimic their own voice and stuff,
Yeah.
you know?
Sometimes showrunners are barely, no, I don't want to say that. But sometimes showrunners are less a part of the process as a lot of people, rather than a lot of people think they are. They will be there to make high-level decisions, but they become more of a high-level kind of executive rather than like a creative person.
Yeah, because
I don't know if I'm getting too in the weeds.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it also depends on like what your background is.
Yeah.
Like there are many showrunners who just came from writing, and so they become like, well, I write, and someone else sort of oversees all the art and all the storyboards and all the cinematography and sound and all that sort of stuff. And other showrunners don't write, and they have someone else do the writing. Like it's all over the place. But I think you and I are probably similar, where it's sort of like we did all of it at the same time.
We board, we write.
Yeah.
I'll take on design sometimes. I'll animate.
Yeah,
when I can.
I definitely animated a lot of stuff on Fanny Train because we didn't have any people to fill in those spots.
Yeah.
Like the budget was so low, we didn't have someone who could like, hey, we need someone to animate just this section because it just needs to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess it's me.
I've animated on Owl House. I have animated a couple bits for Knights of Guinevere. Basically, whenever there's like a gap in the pipeline that needs a little help, a well-rounded like generalist can come in and be like, oh, I can help with that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of showrunner I like to be.
Same. I was very much like, I'm not good at everything. I'm actually quite just fine at just about everything.
But that's all you need.
What that means is that when there's a small hole, I can be like, and I can like fix it a little bit. You're not going to look at my work and be like, that was really something. But you will look at it and be like, that's done. So
that sure is finished.
Yeah, it's finished.
Awesome. And besides being a revisionist, do you believe there's, or would you recommend a path into, I know you're both going to speak a bit about this in your talks, but on getting to make a show and getting to be a showrunner, do you believe there's a specific way you can achieve that goal?
The one consistency I've found across pretty much all showrunners is that there isn't really much of a normal path, except that at some point they probably worked at a studio.
Yeah.
At some point. Whatever role that is in a studio, don't know. It could be, but I know showrunners who were like, I was a background artist and now I'm a showrunner. But
character
like that's
designer,
character designer
production
and now I'm a
person,
showrunner. Yeah,
et cetera.
exactly.
Yeah.
All these different roles that are in a show, usually they have at least done one of those roles at some point. But other than that, how they got that role in the first place, I don't know. That thing changes all over the place.
Yeah. I don't think it's impossible to become a showrunner without any studio experience.
Yeah.
However, I do think it benefits if there is a little bit of experience. It doesn't even have to be at a mainstream studio, but working with a team, working on an independent project, and understanding what each position does and what each position is responsible for, so that when you do eventually become a showrunner, you can empathize more with your crew. You can like schedule things out better for them, support them better.
Yeah.
Going from 0 to showrunner, you see it sometimes. It can often lead to difficult pipelines.
Very
Yeah.
difficult
Very-
pipeline. Also, we're also talking about this from the perspective of like a studio showrunner.
Yeah,
Like,
we both came up in
Yeah.
studios.
I mean, you can going the independent route. Like, you don't need to. You can. It's independent. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. But I still think it's worth working with a team, even
It's
if it's
true, yeah.
even if it's with your group of friends. Having that ability to work with a team and to collaborate and know how to work out problems with your
Yeah.
fellow human being is important.
Because you also have to learn how to like trust that someone else is going to do the thing that they're going to do.
And do it better than
And do
you.
it better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's very common for new showrunners, especially, to want to take on basically everything, every part of the process, and it's like you just can't. It's too much. You can't do it.
Are you attacking me right now? That was definitely a lesson I had to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to let go, and you have to trust the people that are doing the stuff on your show because they want to do it, and they want to do it right. So your job is generally just to make sure that like they have the tools that they need to do it in the way that you hope they can do it, and it'll work out. It'll work out.
It'll work out.
generally. It'll generally work out.
It has to.
It has to, because otherwise you just spend a lot of money and now it's not done.
So I guess you're saying that probably any kind of artist or discipline can become a showrunner, but are there any other qualities like empathy, teamwork, leadership that you believe that you need to develop
Yes.
to become a leader of a team?
I found that it's best to hate everybody on your crew and hit them if you need to.
Be verbally abusive as often
Get
as
some
possible.
calluses on those hands. Really, it's
Yeah.
about making sure that empathy is a big one,
Yes.
because there's always going to be someone who's like, I need to leave for a week because my cat died. Like that happens. There's things that come up that you just have to deal with,
Yeah.
and everyone's a human. So I would want empathy for myself. So of course you should extend that to other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into showrunning without empathy and just treating it purely as a business and treating everyone as a number will ultimately lead to a high turnaround of crew members. Basically, like they'll leave faster and new people will come in, they'll burn out faster, they'll leave again, and it's just this very toxic cycle. I think, and that might even sound too cold because I don't want it to be, I don't want like your crew to be seen as just a like, oh, what's best for the business, what's best for
Right.
the show. Like these are jobs that people are living off of. Some of them are supporting their families off of. Some of them are supporting their cats off of.
That is another reason why I
Yeah.
think it's good to have had a job at some point in the pipeline, because you will definitely. It's like people who treat service workers poorly.
Yeah, fuck
like
those guys.
someone who like yells at somebody for making their coffee wrong. Like anyone who does that has clearly never worked and made coffee for somebody.
Yeah.
You know. Like,
Those people should not be showrunners.
those people shouldn't be showrunners. Like it's good to have some amount of experience because you understand roughly what they're going through in their job, and you can sort of empathize with it and figure that out with them.
I also think that being empathetic and also being able to make quick decisions, definitive decisions, is very helpful, because if you're the kind of person that like, say like, okay, we have two designs we need to decide between, design X and design Y, and it takes you a week to decide that, you've immediately bottled up the pipeline and made a lot of people's lives difficult because you couldn't make one decision that ultimately might not matter all that much. So empathy and decision making, I think, are two very valuable skills in this job.
Yes, especially because every person in every part of the pipeline is super focused on the thing that they're doing. So a designer is focusing on the design of this single character or a piano in the background. Like, that's what they're focusing on. And part of your job as a showrunner is to be looking at all of it all the time. And so there are times when you have to be like, the piano looks fine. We need to stop drawing this piano and move on now.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of your job, is to like keep things going.
Yes.
In a way that doesn't make anybody hurt. I feel like that's my main goal all the time, is like, I don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Like, that's the goal. Except maybe execs, you can hurt them, it's
Yeah,
fine.
we can hurt them as much as they want.
Yeah, they're fine.
So let's talk a little bit about you come from studios, but now you, Dana, are going on the independent route. So, and we know, times are tough. Working with studios is not easy, in a lot of cases not ideal. So what are some promising avenues or alternatives to keep on telling the stories that you love and creating what you want to create without, the whole mechanism and the whole traditional, pipeline and yeah.
Well, I am very fortunate that I was able to partner with Glitch. That gave me an avenue into being able to produce something for YouTube. If you are interested in working outside of mainstream, if that is an option that you are looking at, if you want to produce stuff for YouTube, TikTok, I don't know, Webtoons, whatever the option is. I heard Webtoons is, whatever, I don't know. But in terms of speaking about YouTube, I feel like it's obviously a very good avenue for people to create their own independent projects, and this is a point that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow in my talk as well. I see, because of Glitch and because of a couple other like indie studios who have a lot of funding, people feel this need, young creators and young independent artists feel this need that their pilots need to be kickstarted and gain millions of dollars for them to create this beautifully realized pilot, fully colored, all these backgrounds, 3D shots, so that they can create their stories, they can bring their stories to life. But you don't need to do that. If this is just a passionate thing for yourself, if this is just a way for you to express yourself, even if this is a way for you to earn money outside of the mainstream studio system, make an animatic. Invest in cool voice actors maybe and cool music instead of the whole frickin' thing. Invest in maybe your friends who want to help you out. You can keep things small. I'm going to reference her again tomorrow because I think it's just such a great example, but Pretty Please, I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl, yes! By Kiana Mai, I think is a perfect example of something that is attainable to like so many, to every artist. It's an animatic. She put her money towards hiring VAs and getting original music. And even if she didn't, she could have created something just as funny and charming and well made if she was just getting her buds to do voices for her. And it's just an animatic. Even if she didn't have that little 30-second little animation thing in between, it's just an animatic, and she was able to pull in so much. So if you want to create your own pilot, and if that's something you want to pitch to studios, if that's something you just want to live out in the world, if that's something that you want to use to express yourself or tell a story that you've had since you were 6 years old, make an animatic. It doesn't need to be this whole thing for it to be successful, because I see a lot of people get trapped in the nuances and the complications of a pipeline. So fuck the pipeline, just make the thing. Make a nice animatic. I fully support that.
A thing to really think about is like right now, it is easier to make animation than it has ever been throughout all of history. And every single day, it gets easier. It's still hard, but like, you know, we used to have to draw things on paper and then use a camera and click it, and then it had to be on film, and then you had to get the film developed to see if it worked, you know? Like, that's where we used to be. And now, there are like free programs online that you can use, and you can do all kinds of things yourself. Whenever I approach doing something, a project by myself, like right now I'm working on 2 pilots by myself at home, right?
Yeah!
But I'm doing 2 pilots right now. 2 is crazy. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
But they're very different styles, and what I did was I basically looked at what do I actually have and worked from there. I always look at like what do I already own, you know? I have a computer, I have a Cintiq, I have Photoshop. That's
pretty
that's
good.
It. That's a lot.
Audacity is free.
Audacity's
I
free,
use that
yeah.
for Knights of Guinevere.
Yeah, I know people who've used like OpenTunes or all kinds of things. There's Blender is free. There's all kinds of stuff.
Edited on iMovie before, even though it's the biggest pain in the ass in my entire life. Yeah, it is easier to make animation, and there are creative ways to keep it low budget, to keep it like doable for a small team without feeling the need to do all this fancy stuff.
One of the 2 pilots that I'm working on right now is one where I filmed everybody on a green screen. I filmed it all, and I put it on a green screen, and I decided to lean into it, and I was like, look, I'm gonna make a joke out of the fact that it looks like it's people on green screen, and like go with it. And it looks that way. It looks like it's on like cable access TV. It looks bad, and that's good. That's the joke. It's fine. It's supposed to look.
Is that the one
way.
you just released?
No.
The dog park?
No, that was a whole different thing.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Ignore me, please.
You can do stuff yourself.
You can do stuff
You can do
yourself.
stuff by yourself. A lot of things by yourself. Unfortunately, it takes time. That's basically what you're paying for. The fact that you're doing things for free means that it's going to take more time.
And one thing that's easier to get free, maybe not easier, but more accessible, is a good story will shine through, for lack of a better term, amateurish visuals.
Yeah.
Making sure your story is good and tight and something that you are personally super proud of, and then like that I feel like it's just more accessible to create a solid, beautiful story rather than some big, expensive
I can also guarantee you'll be happier.
Yes.
Like, whatever it is, if your story is like solid, even if it looks, if your story sucks and it looks really good, in the end you're still going to be kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no one's going to care.
Because I can tell you, I've worked on projects where I've been like, this looks really good. I wish I'd done the story a little bit better, but it didn't work out. But other ones where I was like, this looks really good, and the story is really good, and it makes me very happy. So like making the story good and feel good, it'll make you feel better, which will boost your confidence, make your skin clear, all of it.
I want to see some hands. Can we see, before the questions, who here is a writer? Just nice. We got a lot. So
Hell
look
yeah.
around, meet with each other later. Do we have any borders in the room? Nice. Okay.
Animators? Oh, beautiful. And Viz dev artists as well, painters and layout artists, designers, beautiful.
Voice actors? We have a couple, yeah, all right.
Production people, let's just go down the gamut. Awesome.
And yeah, I mean, it's sometimes, most of the times, because you have to trust them, it'll be your friends, but this is a great place to make friends as well, so yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, now I think we can jump into the questions. So yeah, let's open it up. You want to choose?
Oh, no.
That's fine.
Let's choose, yeah.
Órale. Hey, hey. Hi. Hi, Owen. Hi, Dana. Love
Hi.
the Owl House and love Infinity Train. My question is more specific to show running. I think in all talks that have happened in Pixelatl previous years and today, also, sometimes the responsibilities and jobs specific of a showrunner are kind of ambiguous because it's also kind of like you do everything and nothing at the same time. So what would you say are really specific things that the showrunner should do, and what are some things that in your experience you learned you should let it go, let it be a collaboration with someone else, just so you don't die in the process? And also, now that you are also in the indie, what are, like, how that changed also?
You go first.
Sorry.
First
Love
goal
you
that I would
guys.
say. First goal that I would say for the showrunner is to protect their staff from the people above the showrunner.
Yes,
That's-
1,000%.
That is the first thing you got to do.
Your
because-
crew is everything.
Yes, because the people above you don't care. And so your job is to sit there and be sort of a big shield to stop that.
Yeah. Yes, your crew is everything. Should be your main goal, is to make sure that everyone is getting what they need, that everyone is feeling okay. That absolutely should be one of your highest priorities. I also, because each show running job is different and because it's such a malleable position, you kind of need to, what helped me when I first got into the position and now helped me when I'm doing this job again, is I wrote down a list of priorities of like, this is stuff that I know I need to do, this is stuff that I want to improve on since the last time I was a showrunner, and this is stuff that I would prefer to trust to someone else. And figure out what your priorities are. I'm a board artist and a director at heart, so between Owl House and now on Knights of Guinevere, one of my priorities was like, I need to get back into boarding. I need to start storyboarding again. I need to start directing the actual visuals of everything. That became one of my that became one of my like big responsibilities, and so I started trusting like other parts of the pipeline more to my leads. I know showrunners who are more character design focused. They take on a lot of the like characters design sheets. I know, I know showrunners who are more focused on the actual production part of stuff. So like organizing budgets and schedules and all different ways of being a showrunner are completely valid. It's just up to Perfect.
Yeah.
It's basically up
I
to
know
you.
we're doing pop-up video over here.
I know. Jump scare. Yeah, next question, I suppose. Or unless there was something else.
Oh, no, one thing that I made sure of when I first started being a showrunner is that I'd noticed when I'd worked on previous shows that it was really hard to get in contact with the showrunner. So sometimes the showrunner would just be so busy that you, as an employee, you had like something, you're like, if I could just tell them this one thing, the whole thing, there's so many pipeline things that be fixed if they could just know that there's this one thing happening, but I could never like get in contact with them because they were so busy. And so like I made it a goal on Infinity Train was the first one where I did this, where I was like every 2.5 months, 3 months in there, I set aside like a whole week where every person on the entire show, from the very end of the pipeline all the way up to the directors, comes into my office for like 20 minutes and just goes like, hey, here's the problems.
I think stuff like that is awesome.
So making sure that there's like, hey, if you're ever feeling like there's something you want to say and you keep being like, oh, I don't know when I should say it, there is a guaranteed time that if you didn't say it before, you can definitely say it. in this like 20-minute, half an hour thing,
Yeah.
like in 2 weeks.
And it would be like a private conversation between you and that
Yeah.
person? That's wonderful.
Yeah, it worked great.
To jump off that, I have heard of showrunners. I have luckily not been on a show like this before, but I have, I know of productions and showrunners where there's like these little unspoken rules of like, oh, don't look at them in the eye. Oh, don't bother
Oh, yeah,
them.
I've heard that.
Never talk to them.
Yeah.
Don't be a showrunner like that. If any of you
So
become
weird.
showrunners, don't be like that. You're supposed to be there for your crew. You're there to collaborate. You're not there to be some weird thing
God.
hiding in a corner. You're not a
Yeah,
god.
you're not a god.
Gross. Yeah.
That's
Be
so weird.
available to your crew.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that strategy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It worked great.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
Hi. So I was just wondering, like, in the position that you are, what's the situation with burnout? Like, I've heard that, well, having like a story and having like a company like pressuring you, it's like you have to be on schedule all the time. So, like, what happens there? Like, you just like go through with it, or just like get like hiatus? Because I know that like. It's not that common to have hiatus like on this age, so I don't know.
We used to have more hiatuses back when they
Yeah.
would do larger pickups.
But they would be, the hiatuses would be more predictable, and there would be like, okay, you go on hiatus for like 3 weeks, and then the next season starts.
Yeah.
So they'd
but-
be like summer
But
vacations.
no one ever picks up multiple seasons anymore.
Yeah.
So we don't really get to do that. How do I deal with burnout? Poorly. A thing that I do is, you know how I said I have 2 pilots going on right now? What happens is I go really intense on one thing, and then I go like, and then I move on to the other thing. Like, it's why Infinity Train was structured the way it was, is because I need new stuff all the time. That's why Infinity Train was like, every episode is a new train car, every season is a new set of characters. It's because I need this new all the time. So the way that I deal with burnout is I have like 3 projects going at any given time, so that when I'm feeling like done on one, I don't want to do it anymore, I can jump to another thing and I can still keep going, but it feels fresh and new. I don't know if I would recommend that, but I can tell you that's what I do.
Same boat, same hat. So right after Owl House, Knights of Guinevere was already kind of a pitch packet. It was already something that I knew I wanted to make, and when I should have been recovering, whatever that looks like, I don't know how to have fun. I only know how to work.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I just jump on to the next thing, and it's not good. I wouldn't recommend that.
Having fun is playing a video game and feeling guilty about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun, right?
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just zoned out for a second.
Hi.
Hi.
As my question is, as a showrunner, do you have like the last decision? Like, what happens when like your team established something, but at the end you don't like it? Do you just can change it, or what happens in that case?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be changed. It's done.
You can change it. I always like to add into the equation of like, how much time do we have? How many
Yep.
resources do we have? Because there are showrunners, like say a background needs to be redrawn, but the deadline is tomorrow. That's a situation where I'd be like, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not
Yeah.
worth making someone stay up all night and stress about it.
Yeah.
But some people could just be like, get it done.
And, yeah.
I
And that's-
I don't like being like
That's
that.
also where I always had the guilt, where I'm sort of like, I don't want to pawn this off onto somebody, because I don't want somebody to have to stay up all night and doing this thing. And so I was like, can I do this?
Yeah.
If I wouldn't feel comfortable doing this myself, I don't feel comfortable asking somebody else to do that, because it's not fair. That's
Yeah.
not fair. And so if something has to be changed last minute, one, it shouldn't have gotten to that point. It happens.
Let it happen.
But you try really hard to make sure that doesn't happen. If something has to be changed at the last minute, there's a lot of people in the room being like, what if we just leave it? And then, you know what? I forget what those things even were. Like, I look back on Infinity Train stuff, and I'm like, I don't remember what things were last-minute changes that I decided not to do. Because in the end, those last-minute changes ended up not really being something that really needed to be done. And that was why I made that decision to not change anything.
At the same time, there have been last-minute decisions that I've made that have 1,000% been worth it. It's still not to say it's worth like destroying someone's week, because that's always taken into consideration.
Yeah.
But like, if there's a way to be like, okay, the shot isn't working, what's how can we take this shot and turn it into a still image that can tell more, get more done, while being easier to do? That's usually the kind of solutions I like to look for.
That's definitely happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. It's always a toss-up.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah.
Hello.
I'm Diana, and as someone who's now working in a personal project that I'm really passionate about, how do I? Sorry, let me take my notes. How do I tell apart my commitment from overexploiting myself?
Ooh, I'm the wrong person to ask.
Here's the problem. We're all a bunch of artists, and so we just do it and keep going no matter what. And that's it takes practice to know when you need to just like stop for a minute.
There are, like, having worked for almost 15 years now in this industry, I have like finally created very hard and fast boundaries for myself. No matter how, for example, no matter how horrific a deadline is, no matter how horrific a problem is, I will never work on a Sunday. That sounds like I work every Saturday, which I don't. Sometimes I do, but never a Sunday. I leave my phone in a drawer between certain hours because I can access my work on my phone. And I have a very dedicated routine to like fitness, taking walks, doing these certain things where I can actively switch my brain off and focus on something else. Doing stuff like that can help recover from burnout a little faster. It can keep you from getting burnout, and it like just always being able to establish boundaries for yourself is super important. Not only when you are working for yourself, but when you're working for other people. It just helps all around.
I straight up just stopped having email on my phone so that nobody could email me.
That's so brave.
Like, I will check my email when I am in the office looking at my email. I'm not going to check it while I'm eating dinner. I'm eating dinner. I want to eat.
You don't eat at your computer desk?
I have, definitely. That's why I don't eat on my phone.
And also, before we go on to the next question, can I see some hands for the producers in the room? Nice. If you agree, I think other than meeting the deadlines and the schedule, I think producers will always be, a great aid in balancing times and taking care of the team. So, shout out to all of you, and yeah.
To add on to that, a good producer, a good line producer, and a good production team, worth their weight in gold. They're the kind of the unsung heroes of animation, but like if you have a production team that is looking out for you, that understands like how to work with artists and how to schedule for each position, what a joy.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah.
Hi, and my question was, as showrunners, especially for shows that are very like story-based, how do you let go of that idea that you have that like you want to tell and like pass it all to all the team, because of course you can't do everything, and you have like a team of writers, a team of designers, everything. How do you let go of that, like, oh, it's like my like a story, this is what I want to tell, this is the themes that I want to like convey. How do you let go of that? And also, where do you draw the line of like, this is my vision, even like I want to tell this, and even if somebody is like, I don't know if like, when do you do like a stop and like, okay, I do wanna make this way?
I've found that whenever it comes to figuring out story stuff, I try to go in with a rough idea of what I want the story to be. If you go in with all the details too hammered out, you are going to alienate everyone else who works with you. So I find that I like a story to be about 50, 60% figured out. Like I know the themes I want to do, I know the characters, I know roughly the direction I want the stories to go. I have some ideas for other stories within if it's a TV show. But I want to make sure that when I go in and I have some writers with me, that they feel empowered to add on to it. So basically what you're doing is you're building a big skeleton sort of structure that other people are going to start adding more of the muscles
and the meat and the
skin,
organs.
yeah, just making sure that you're building something that other people can still continue to build upon, and don't get too into the details right away. Like, it's best to keep that stuff, I think, fairly vague near the beginning. Fairly vague. I'm saying 60%-ish. A little bit vague near the beginning, so that you can work with a bunch of people together and make this thing.
Yeah, in a similar way, I'm like a highly specific person, and when there is something I want to do, I can be pretty focused on that. But after experience, I know that when you're working with other writers, when you're working with other creators, they will ultimately come up with ideas that are better than yours.
Yeah.
And you need to be flexible and be able to accept that, kill that ego. And I think if you're the one running the show, if it's your project, I think it is good to have a couple things that are like, this is the theme that's very important to the show, this is something that the character needs to go through, like big picture ideas. Yeah. And then to get to those things, if your writers come up with like a more interesting way to get there, allow them to do that. You need to be able to kill your concepts for something that might be better. Mm-hmm. And once you get used to that, it's pretty easy to just kind of trust people more.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi. As a showrunner, what are the main aspects that you have to take care of to make a story interesting, or to make the target engage with the story that you're telling?
I think things need to feel personal. Whatever it is that you're making has to have a certain amount of your personal feelings and thoughts and things in it. I think that's one of the problems you run into with a lot of, I think we've all seen a lot of movies or TV shows that feel very, very broad,
very
kind
paint
of
by
generic,
numbers.
very paint by numbers. Clearly there was a committee that got together and was like, this story will be like this, and they just sand down all the edges, you know?
What did he really just do that?
Wow,
Stuff like that.
What is this place? That's not a thing. All right, so anyway, we can do this all day. I think it's important that you're making something that at least mostly feels like you're the one making it.
Yes.
It's coming from a person, you know? That's why AI sucks.
Yeah.
Because it's not coming from a person with thoughts and feelings. It's just like, whatever.
Good chance to say fuck AI.
Yeah, hey.
And yeah, I agree with everything.
Great.
That.
Nice and easy.
Yeah. Is that Guinevere? Thank you for holding that up.
Hi. When do you two think it's like the best moment, or when you feel more confident to show your idea to a studio?
Oh, to a studio.
Yep.
Oh, that's
I have so little shame. I will show them anything. Wait, am I understanding the question right? Like,
yeah.
when do you feel confident
When do you
enough?
feel comfortable showing your work to the studio?
If I can
If you're pitching, I
describe,
guess.
if I know my characters well enough that I can describe them in a couple adjectives, and if I can like rattle off the general plot of the story and their general arcs off the top of my head without like stuttering or missing a beat, whether I'm nervous or not, then I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar on that one.
Yeah, I'm also pretty shameless. If an idea sucks, I'll still show it to someone because nothing matters. It's just about the quicker you are to feel, the more comfortable you are with your work and the more comfortable you are talking with people, the easier it is to just be like, come to someone with like 5 ideas and be like, well, 3 of these suck, but one of them's kind of cool. Let me know what you think. Yeah.
There's also a thing that most people I know have noticed, which is that they don't like whatever the first thing you show them is. Almost every time. Like the first thing they're like, here's my idea, it's this and this and this, and they go, oh, cool. Anything else? And you go, and you have to have like a couple things in your back pocket. So sometimes, and I've gotten work from doing this, I throw them the bad idea first. And then I have the other thing that I actually want to do as my second pitch, and I go, well, there's also this other thing, I guess. Yeah. It's kind of like this, and it's awesome, it's this, and you go into it, and they go, oh, wow, that sounds
Why didn't you
way
say that
interesting."
first?
Yeah, well, it's because I'm tricking you.
Hi, I have a question over here. So my question is, how I feel like a lot of our showrunners ideally have like their projects very close to their heart, right? So, but I also get like this kind of like, no, but you also have to be kind of detached. So, what are your thoughts on that? And I feel like also you don't have to project all of yourself, but also like close people to you, like people that really made a dent in your story, in your personal story. So how do you manage all of that? And also, I have this fear that maybe if I pour everything of me to only one project, like, that's it, I'm not gonna do anything else. That was all I could give. So, like, I have this fear of, like, being, like, a one-hit wonder kind of thing.
I have a friend, sorry, go.
Oh, yeah, you can go. I'm done.
I have a friend named Toby Jones who one time we were walking down the street and we were just mad. We were mad about executives and how they get caught up on like, we're looking for this idea or whatever. And people get really caught up on ideas versus the actual making of the thing. And he just screamed into the street and he went, ideas are fucking infinite! Just make the thing! And it's true. Ideas are infinite.
Yeah.
As much as it feels like right now, you're like, this is the only thing I will ever make for the rest of my life. That's not true.
Yeah.
Look back at the rest of your life. Did you make other things? Why is that stopping now? Why would it, your brain still exists.
Yeah.
You know? So you're just going to keep making stuff no matter what. It's just going to keep happening. It's not going to happen always at the pace that you want it to happen. But you will make more stuff.
Yeah.
It's just what's going to happen.
And like, even if all the different ideas you have just end up into like a drawing or maybe like a page of an idea, that's still like practicing and using that muscle to keep yourself making ideas so that when you are eventually ready to make your second thing, you've got the practice in.
Yep.
And as far as like putting your all, I personally don't think you should put 110% of yourself into every project. Effort, yes. Your heart, no. Because if something takes off, and I learned this from Owl House, it becomes the audiences. A large portion of it becomes the audiences. And whether they're interpreting things the way you want, whether they have their own cool, different interpretations of things, like that kind of, that that changes things. I don't quite yet know how to describe it. Yeah, it makes it bigger, but it also makes it a little smaller from you. It's like the only thing I can think of is watching your kid go to college. They're their own person now. The show is its own thing now. It lives on its own without me. But it still deserves all your effort and care, but not all your heart. I like to think of Owl House was a passion project, but it was also half an experiment. Can I make something in a genre that I hate? I don't like fantasy, so so I made a fantasy show. Yeah.
Really funny.
I don't like drawing XYZ. Can I make a project where I have to draw XYZ? Sci-fi with Guinevere is something. It's like these are certain genres that I dislike. Can I write in that? And so like keeping it an experiment allows me to keep some emotional distance from it while still being able to put all my effort into it. And that doesn't make it any less valid. That doesn't make it any less personal. You just need to figure out what works for you in that sense. Hope that's helpful. Sick.
Hi. Well, I know this varies a lot from person to person, but you guys worked on and made really good shows, so I was hoping you could tell me, what is your process for making decisions? Because you said that making decisions on the fly is very important for the job you have, so do you have any specific process, or?
It's just practice, I think.
Yeah.
That's just practice.
Practice trusting yourself and being able to trust others. Knowing your blind spots is a really, really good one. So I know one of my blind spots is in certain kinds of writing, specifically in dialogue. If I'm writing a whole script myself, I know I'm personally pretty good at structure, but when it comes to dialogue, all my characters sound the same. It's like they have the same voice. They all have my voice. It's something I'm working on, but because I know this, I can look to my co-writers and be like, hey, I need to make a decision on this thing quick. Can you help me in this area? And that helps.
One of my blind spots is color theory and stuff.
Oh man.
Where it's like,
Same.
I know the basics,
Yeah.
but I make sure that when I'm hiring people, that when I look at their color work, I'm like, these look beautiful. I don't really know why, but
they
I know
can tell
it looks
you
good,
why.
and they can tell me. But it also helps because when I sit down with my art director or something, she can say, this sort of feels like this sort of feels like this, what tone are you going for, and that sort of thing. And so I'm like, great, and I can quickly choose because it's part of it is trusting what other people are telling you and what they're thinking and doing, because they're experts.
Yeah.
Trust the experts.
And the more practice you have in doing that, in trusting yourself, knowing what you're good at and what other people are good at, the more you could be like, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. Send this question over to this person.
Yeah.
If they don't have that answer, come back to me. We'll have a brainstorm about it. Okay, I know what to do with this. Give that one to me. That's like every day for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
La última. The last one.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Hi, me. Hi.
Hi.
Huge fan
hi.
of both of you. I love you. My question is, how do you find balance on sticking to your values and having to listen to the executives?
Do you want to go first?
I'm so sorry.
No,
Was there more to that question?
Yeah, just like how do you know when to pick your battles? Like that's most of my question.
Your
Thank
values are more important than an executive's whims. What is important to you, what is important to your crew's well-being is always 1,000 more times more important than the random ideas, whims, and decisions of your executive.
Your executive likely looked at the thing once and then shot off an email, and the idea of being like, that's an important opinion to listen to is kind of silly.
Yeah.
They have their own stuff that they're thinking about that changes constantly, and they don't even usually realize what it is that they're doing or thinking about. So like, it's a lot of me going, of me. A lot of the showrunner, maybe not me, I don't know, saying like, yeah, we'll do that.
And they'll forget about it.
And they often forget about it, yeah. So
I'm not advocating to be impolite.
Yeah.
Unless someone is
Sometimes
pushing you
it's-
into a corner. Sometimes you have to be,
sometimes
which
it's
is
called for.
Yeah, I will admit that I have yelled at executives on the phone during COVID when they have refused to give us, or they gave us an extension during COVID because everyone was terrified of dying, and then they shortened our schedule, and so I had to go on the phone and yell at them and be like, my crew is terrified of leaving their house. How dare you?
COVID was also the one time I ever yelled at an executive, yeah.
Yeah, so keep your values true to heart. The only opinions that truly, truly, truly matter are your coworkers, are your crew, not your bosses.
Yeah.
Never let them make you punch down.
Yeah.
Always punch up if you have to.
Yeah, that's part of that shield that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be there. That's
Like the
part
meme of the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys,
What a good
thank you so much. Let's give a big applause to Owen, Dana, Chris. Muchas gracias. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here in Pixelatl. Que se escuche fuerte. Eso. Muchas gracias.